Hey guys, welcome back to the True Blue Chat. And today we have amazing guest Kashi. Kashi been in the game is not quite not for too long. However, at his age, he was able to achieve obviously the common goal that you set out. Being remote sales, 10K a month, closing on a great offer. So today the purpose really understand how did Kashi able to actually get to where he are right now. What are the things that he learned on the journey, and obviously what could be the obstacle that prevent him from actually being there and how he overcome it. So Kashi, just give me a quick introduction by yourself to the people.
Yeah, dude. Happy to be here, man. My name's Kashi, like Fat just said. I'm 19. I've been in the sales space for it's approaching a year now. It's been like 9 months in the sales space. Started off in door to door, worked my way through all the trenches, the cold calling, the appointment setting. Went into full time closing, which is what I've been doing, and I just landed a really good role. But before that, I was on a pretty good offer, which led me to 10 grand a month. And yeah, ultimately went through a lot of obstacles to get to that goal.
So you only been in the game for 9 months, and when you say you done door to door, do you mean like is that included in a 9 month?
Yeah, so if I include door to door, it's probably been a year. I did door to door for like 1 or 2 months,
Okay,
and
so
it was
give
treacherous,
me a
dude.
breakdown of like your actual each offer, just so the people can actually see how you progress to where you now.
Yeah, yeah. Let's start with door to door then. So I started off in like March. I just turned 18 in March, and that's exactly when I started door to door at 18. And I still remember it when I was getting into door to door, they had a requirement that you had to be 18, but I wasn't 18 when I did the interview. So I kind of just said I was 18 and hoped for the best, and somehow I got it. I started knocking door to door, dude, making zero sales for days upon days. And then after the end of the month or two, I had a really good mentor in that door to door space who was doing really well. And I just copied exactly what he was doing. And what do you know? I actually started getting some sales and I became the top rep for that company before I left. And I found my way into the online sales space. And so my very first offer was a B2B, like cold calling. Can't really call it an offer, dude. We're at like 20 grand a month. Um, yeah, it was just cold calling. So I went in, did like 200 to $300 a day, booking like one or two bookings a day, which didn't even end up closing. And any money that I did make, I didn't even get paid at the end of the month or 2 months. He just refused to pay me.
That's
So then I
crazy.
actually jumped up into a real estate appointment setting offer. Now this one really changed my whole perspective because the offer owner was actually good and he was nice. And he really told me the ropes, not just about sales. He wasn't the greatest sales guy, but he told me about the business space. And he was just a very switched on guy. And I did appointment setting for him. I didn't make much. I made 600 in that month. So at this time, it's around like July, like maybe June, around that time, right? And I made 600 for the month. And then I landed my full time closing role. So I hopped on an interview. The founder was from Perth, where I'm from, in Australia, and that's how we connected. So I got in through that full time closing role, and I realized that I was dog shit at closing. So it took me a full week to really get used to everything and get my first sale. And then after that, I just copied the top closer and made my way up towards there. And ever since then, I've been the top closer for the last 6 months on that offer, and I'm still doing it currently. And then just recently, like a week ago, I did an interview for an offer that's scaling to a million a month, and I landed it out of like 12, 13 applicants that they did the interview with. And so I'm going to do that as well as a US offer and do both until I kind of choose one and go down there.
So, what? How do you expect your work schedule going to look like? Especially working to offer different time zone.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's going to be packed. Like for me, like business comes first, sales comes first, like life revolves around that. So I'm going to be working like 16 hours, I think, or close to that. It's like 15 to 16
Hmm.
every single day. So it looks like from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. That's for now. The ramp up period is on my US offer. And then from 9 a.m. to like 5, 6 p.m. is going to be the AU offer, which is the one I'm on. And yeah, and then it's going to keep increasing the US offer. So it's going to be like 16 hours eventually.
Oof, oof, guys, it's not easy.
Yeah, dude.
And obviously,
It's not even
what do you say is like how much money you want to make?
in the next 3 months.
Yep.
20 grand a month US, dude, is really what I want to be in the next 3 months or so by September 1st.
And you can see, like, guys, you can see how a lot of people say they want to make 20K a month, 25K a month, but they don't understand that you have to put this hour in, right? Obviously, as you get into better position, you sell even higher ticket offer, where that kind of reduced out the time. However, at the beginning, it's really volume and a lot of time. So when guys say, you will agree on this, right? They say sales,
Mm,
remote sales is freedom, right? But do you actually truly feel like that? Or you actually stuck on your desk for the whole day?
good question. Honestly, dude, for me, compared to what I was doing before, sales is freedom. Even though it's not the time freedom, it's freedom to do whatever I want. Like I just genuinely love doing it. So for me, it is freedom. But in terms of people, freedom is different. They want time, the Lambos, the Ferraris, traveling the world, doing a couple hours a day. It's not like that. If that's your freedom, the reason I got into sales is to learn the skill set so that 5, 6, 7 years down the line, I can launch my own offer and then I can have true freedom. So a lot of people, especially when they're young, like my age, 19, they can't think long term. They don't think 5, 10, 20 years down the line. And so hence they go for the quick dopamine hit or they want to get stuff really quickly and live that relaxing lifestyle now. But that's just not possible. You have to think long term.
Long time. So there's a couple things that I want to go into here, right? First would
Yeah.
be like the long term thinking that you have, but I guess like for a lot of people that after they hear your experience able to land such amazing, closing offer, especially your first closing offer where you don't have experience for it, right? So like give me a rundown on how did you, just do a poem setting and somehow land the closing offer.
Yeah, that's a very good question actually, because a lot of people don't focus on it, landing the actual offer. A lot of people in this industry think skill set is everything. I agree, skill set is a lot to do with it, but there's only a certain point you can get to, and then offer matters way more than skill set does. That's how you get to 50, 100 grand a month, right? So how I landed the AU offer with no experience, I just showed what a savage I was, dude. That's really it. I came in saying I'll do whatever it takes to become number one, and I had the mentality that I want to be number one. I didn't settle for anything less, right? And I was always asking questions related to what is the number one guy doing? How do I become more like the number one? And that's really where business owners start to see that this guy's ready to go all in or nothing. They don't want people that are there for, high ticket sales with 2, 3 hours a day blocking out. They want people that are ready to do, 16 hours a day or 18 hours, right? They're looking for people that are just ready to go all in and become number one. That's the important part for them, to be honest.
So you just really show that
And then
you're super keen and willing to change and willing being a coachable person, right?
And literally, I was gonna say on the US offer I landed, there was 12, 13 people that he did an interview with just from the place where I applied. And he said to me that I was the only one that said I wanted to be number one. I was the only guy out of the 13 people. So it just goes to show that conviction and just wanting to be number one. I genuinely felt that I wanted to be number one. And if I don't be number one, I think it won't kill me, but it will motivate me to become number one even more, right?
Because obviously, when you look at commission sales, such a highly competitive industry. So if you're unable
Yeah.
to actually show that you want to take everybody money, then it's really hard for a business owner to actually take you on board, right? So in terms of like the next thing is long term, plan, man. How you do it, how you approach it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Long-term plan, ideally, I want to stick in sales. I still think I'm pretty bad, to be honest. Like, I think I'm pretty average at sales and closing. I think there's a long way for me to go. So I reckon for the next year, two, at least, stick into closing and sales, and then maybe transition into management, that side of things, transition into building my own offer and acquiring new skill sets and just letting them build and compound over time. So in 5, 6 years, when I'm 24, 23, 24 is really where I want to be starting looking at owning, launching my own B2B or launching my own B2C, that side of things, and using those skill sets.
So during the whole process, right? Do you have any tactical plan to actually learn all these skill set? Do you have any plan to like learn the marketing, the operations side of thing? How do you go and approach that?
Yeah, good question. Like my mentor told me that the number one thing is to think like a founder when you're on these offers. And I take that full to heart. So I don't just focus on the sales side of things. I go, okay, what can I improve on the marketing side of things, the follow up side of things, the automation side of things? What can I do to improve this offer? And I've done that on my AU offer, for example, where I took it from the ads being shut down to all the way to us having like 60, 70% close rates and building a team around it. I've taken offers from the trenches to there, like on the AU offer that I'm on right now. So it's about learning and seeing the inside operations of how it works. Now, of course, I'm a strong believer in also investing in myself, right? That goes without saying. So investing in those skill sets, really understanding marketing and the other skills that come with building a business, which is all five skills.
100%, 100%. Now, I guess like the people who watching this right now, they probably have a lot of questions. Like, how do you able to actually, being a closer and employee, right, basically, but able to actually turn this offer all around? Like, how do you approach that to the online, and what kind of what kind of recommendation that you give him?
Good question. If you're not that guy, he won't listen to you. It's just as simple as that, right? The reason I can do that is because I've been the number one closer for the last 6 months before I said that. I've collected the most amount of cash. It doesn't matter if you're buddies with the owner, it doesn't matter if you're friends with the owner. At the end of the day, money and close rate talks. If you're the guy bringing in the most amount of cash, he will not want to let you go, right? So it's not about talking the talk, you have to walk the walk as well. And so when you bring that up as someone who's been the top closer consistently, and you go, hey, dude, I think we should change this in the marketing funnel. I think we should change this in the VSL. I think we should automate this process. He would take it way more to heart because he knows that you have proven the most amount of results out of everyone else.
So when you're the best, you just get everything, isn't it?
Yeah, dude, like even if you want to leave, it's very hard for them to let you go. And that's what I find. That's a problem that I have. And I think I deal with it pretty poorly, to be honest. Something that I'm working on is leaving offers because it's very hard to leave an offer when you're bringing in the most amount of cash or you're the one doing the most amount of dials. They will not want to let you go, right? But that's a skill set in its own on knowing how to leave nicely and politely without creating a big impact in the business.
And how do you, even approach that to actually even get more leverage? Because a lot of people they can say, "Oh, let me get equity in the business," or like, "Let me increase my commission percentage." Like, have you ever think about that? Gaining the leverage.
Good question. Yeah, that's a good question. So you can, but then again, thinking long term, right? Thinking long term. So what I did is instead of asking for a quick 15% commission check or an additional 5%, yeah, that'll 1.5x my revenue of my earnings. Instead, let me think long term and go, okay, let me look at equity. Let me look at managing a team. Let me look at this relationship as an investment. Because 4 or 5 years down the line, when I need help with launching my own offer, I have someone that I help build every step of the way as a live testimonial, right? So recently, what I did is I was like approaching the idea of management and introduced that to the business owner, and he was like, "Yeah, no brainer. Like, yeah, dude, build a team, do whatever you want. I'm open to that idea. We can talk about that as well." So it's more like managing and then really showing first before you ask for stuff. Because the more you give a bunch of free value, especially when you're young and you don't have a lot of experience, give a bunch of free value because it'll all pay off 4 or 5 years down the line when you're trying to do your own thing.
I see. But then again, really important, guys. You have to be the best one on the team for you to even
Yeah.
suggest that. So don't forget that. Don't forget that. Now, there's a lot of people watching. They be like, this guy's nothing. But the way he articulate and express his sentence is really on point, right? And really clean. So can you like I don't know think about in the past like your background? How does it affect your communication and how you're able to communicate at such a high level?
Yeah, that's a good question. Ideally, it really comes down to the obstacles that I went through, right? So when I was starting off, I was very lost, just in this bubble space. Do I go uni? Do I not go uni? Do I hang out with friends? Do I not go hang out with friends? It was very, very between Andrew Tate and Gadget, all these people just blowing up at me. It was very confusing, right? And I'm sure a lot of people would be in that similar position. The only thing you can do is you got to have a strong why behind why you want to get into this whole online space and making money online. And it's a bit personal, but my why is really strong, right? It has to do with my family, has to do with that side of things, and it's a very strong reason why I want to get into this space. And so every time I'm veering off track, it's like that North Star, right? That why is there. It's always there. So that makes me so convicted that I have to do this, right? And also the conviction comes from the fact that I'm a strong believer in myself, like self-confidence, right? I strongly believe that if you put me one on ones against anyone and you give me time, I will do whatever it takes to beat them. Whether it's at cooking, whether it's at writing, whether it's at sales, whether it's at running, I will do whatever it takes to make sure I beat that guy. If you really want me to, right? And I don't mean that in a really like mean way, but in a competitive way, right?
Hmm. He's him. He's him.
What
Now
was I saying?
I say he's him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, you gotta have that mentality. Otherwise, what's the point, right?
I say now, which really a very smooth transition into the next topic that obviously you may discuss before the interview today is the mindset, right? The belief, the reframing, and just with the perception of self. So in terms of like for you, right, what are the daily thing that you do to actually reinforce your mindset and your belief?
That's a good question. I think it's all internal, really. I think it's all internal. I think whatever external thing you do, it would only be a temporary band-aid to your real problem. To fix the problem of mindset, motivation, discipline, it's an internal thing, and that's the permanent fix. You can do all these cold showers, cold plunges, running, it's all temporary fixes. In reality, you have to shift your mindset and shift your reality to think that, okay, I'm that guy now. That's my identity. And if I steer away from it, you start panicking because you're steering away from the identity. So the things that I do is I literally wake up, have a cold shower, you could say, or I have a shower, and I sit at my desk and I work. That's it, right? I wake up every day and I'm like, I got to do this. I just get straight to work. There's no distractions, right? And then I do work, and then I go to the gym. I consider gym as a break and as a fun thing, and then I come back and I do work again. It's just how it is, dude. And I genuinely enjoy doing it, like working that many hours. I just feel like I'm working towards something, and that's really where discipline comes into play. When you really like what you're doing, and you know that you're working towards a greater purpose, which is that North Star, like I was saying.
I think like you feel like you bring out a very interesting point about just really lean into your natural tendency because
Mm.
naturally you already have a tendency to become enjoy like doing the sales job and like work really long hour, and that doesn't feel like work for you. It just feel because the more you do it, the more energy that you crave for yourself to keep going forward. But for a lot of people, right, in your position, they just do sell as a mean to obviously to make money. However, it's not truly not their natural tendency, and they feel like 3 hour is equal to 16 hour for you, right?
Yeah,
And those people are the one that you can see that stuck at 5K a month for like 10 year in like some shit offer, you know,
yeah,
those corporate sales. So I think it's really great that you are able to actually figure out what you enjoy early in life and actually just double down on that. You know.
yeah, dude.
Now you do talk about go straight to work as a way to reinforce your mindset and belief. However, one of the things that we often discuss in True Blue is reframing and be able to actually change your mindset and belief about what happened before in the past so you can actually turn it into an advantage. So for you specifically, right, do you do any kind of like work on the paper to actually work on your reframing or your belief or your perception of life?
It's a good question. At the moment, no. I used to do journaling, that side of things, and then I found that it became so subconscious that like my reason why just carries over everything. Like when I go off track, I just think of why am I doing this? Like why am I here? And that just brings me back to reality. To be honest, I've never really had that issue of writing stuff down on paper and journaling like that. So I just never been into it. I just more collect in my mind and go, cool. I have a negative thought come in, remove it. This is my reason why, and then go back to work. To be honest.
Okay. Which then I think like really great that you have a really strong, mindset and the ability to actually control that. And obviously, Booty Force, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, one of the things that he talked about, Andrew Tate, is his ability to have such a violent mindset in his brain, violently positive. You know what I mean? Where
Mm.
every negative thing or any limited belief is shut down very violently. So can you give the people a bit more about the inner working of like let's just say something bad happened or like you didn't close the sales or like something didn't go your way. Like what is your working process to actually turn that into positive?
That's a very good question actually. The inner mindset and that side of thing when something bad happens, right? Because I've seen it, and I think it happened in the past when I was very starting off in sales. When something bad happens, let's say you have $200 and you book zero bookings. That's happened to me before. You feel like, shit, I just wasted 6 hours of my day for no reason. But that's bad thinking, right? Instead, I go, cool, I did $200 and I didn't stop. I learned rejection 200 times. Like you got to think everything in a positive way. So let's say you don't land the offer. Okay, clearly I wasn't good enough. Now I know exactly what to improve on. There's been offers where interviews I haven't crushed, dude. The reason I was able to crush this interview was because of all the bad interviews I had. And most people don't see that. The reason I'm able to do this good at closing on this offer is because of all the bad offers I've had, all the bad calls I've had. And that all helps me. Like I think of it a good way. I'm like, please tell me any negative. Because how I learn is from like cold hard truth, right? And tough love. That's how I learn best, to be honest. And yeah, dude, that's what I feel like. You got to take every negative into a positive and just learn from it. Otherwise, you're not going to keep growing. You're going to live in denial on that hamster wheel, right? Like when I go on an offer and I'm at the bottom of the leaderboard, which I probably am at the start, it makes me cringe. And I go, okay, cool. Let me put my ego down. No ego at all. Let's see what the top closer's doing. Cool. Clearly, he's doing something right. Let me copy that. Awesome. And then I can start adding my own things once I actually become a top closer.
100%, 100%. And obviously, Fonzie, right? Fonzie speak about
Yeah.
this very consistently. Like whatever offer that you're on, don't care about what you enjoy, don't care about what you like to do. Just really look at the top people and exactly copy it. And that's how he able to actually close 15 out of 15, I believe, last
Wow,
quarter.
dude.
Yeah, which is
Not
absolutely crazy.
surprised.
So he make his setter Jackson as a setter Jackson make because Jackson is Fonzie personal setter.
Yeah.
So like Jackson make like 7K as a opponent setter, and that's not really often, is it? Most people make like 1K or 2K in the first 3 months of opponent setting.
Yeah, dude. I'm not surprised at all. If you meet Fonzie, meet him IRL, you meet him in person, you know the type of guy he is. I'm not surprised at all, right? Because he has the same level of conviction, if anything, more convicted. He's someone who has no ego. If someone tells him that's better than him to do something, he just does it. There's no questions asked. I feel like arrogance is the biggest thing that prevents you from success, to be honest. And Fonzie's an example of someone who has no arrogance at all and just gets the work done. Like he's that guy, like the dark horse, you could say, right? Like a dark horse. Just comes in and does the work, and you'll just
Yeah,
see him rise to the top.
which is really interesting because like obviously with Fonzie, you, Mateo, all came from first generation immigration family in it.
Mm.
So obviously there's a lot of people there out there is from similar background. Can you just really explain like how our belief and our culture background will be able to develop such a hardworking, you know, people?
Yeah. That's a very good question because I struggle with this. That's probably my biggest struggle that I had. To be honest, the bigger objection, the biggest objection I had to handle. And the reality is, it took me a long time to understand. Your parents will never be 100% satisfied with where you are at the moment. They'll never be, right? Even if you're 100 grand a month, a million a month, it's because of their limiting beliefs that took 40 years, dude. Like to overcome someone's limiting beliefs of what they've seen for 40 years is very hard to do. The only way you can do it, which I have, to get to that 99% of convincing them, is to actually get the results and show the bank account, show the results, show the effort, show the work ethic. That's the only way to overcome that. You can't just be that guy that's saying, "Oh, I'm going to get to 10 grand a month," and just you're not at 10 grand a month, right? And so most people might ask, okay, well, what if they don't let me get started? But if you're going to let someone else dictate the rest of your life, then you might as well not get into the online space because that's going to happen 10,000 times in the business world, right? So you got to go all in. It's either you or nothing. Because that when I was starting off my setting and cold calling days, this is not an exaggeration, but I was willing to go homeless to make this work in the online business space. If I had to go homeless to make it work, I would make it work. I was willing to sacrifice anything. And that's really how you got to be thinking. Like, genuinely, you got to be willing to sacrifice anything, right? There's nothing else in my mind. So I think that's the only way you can overcome it is to go all in There's going to be dark periods, which it was for 3 6 months, where you're grinding, you're getting to 10 grand a month. But once you get to 10 grand a month, man, or even 15 grand a month and above, that's really where everything changes. And like 90% of these issues go away. But you have to go through that 3 to 6 month dark period. And I think that makes you better than people that didn't have those problems. It makes you a stronger guy than people that didn't have those problems. So I take, like I said, you mentioned the negative thoughts. I take the negative as a positive, dude. If I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be where I am today. The
Yeah.
guy that's always aiming to be number one.
Go to the valley of death, to actually see heaven. But then I guess like because I remember when I was first started in this remote space, or even like because in sales, right? There's a time I be thinking, I don't know if this gonna work out. I'm not making any money. It's absolute crazy. The day feels so long and the week feel like forever. You know. So for you, you mentioned that 3 to 6 months of like dark time, and the reason why I want to mention this because when I listen to other people's story that they used to be in the same position as me, it's give me a lot of relief that I know eventually it's going to be worth it. So for you, right, though, can you just expand more on what those 3 6 months of dark time was like? The mindset, the pressure, everything.
Yeah, dude. Oh, it's pretty dark. I can't lie. I don't think I've gone through anything as bad as that. To be honest, that's 3 to 6 month dark period. Because what happens is you start self doubting everything. You go, you know what? Maybe I should have gone back to uni. Maybe I should have gone for that 200K job. Dude. I dropped out of a degree that's top 2% of the country, right? Like I was set, you could say, by society standards, making 20 grand a year, maybe working my way up from there, but I'll just be a slave. And then you come back down to that reality. But it really sets in. You're like, oh, damn, what if I just go to uni with my friends, live in La La Land for 4 or 5 years, and then face reality? So, what's really going on is you just want to throw away the hardships that you're facing and go back into like safety net, which is uni, college, and just live life with your friends. That's really what's happening. You're just delaying it, right? And that's what I realized within myself, that self actualization within myself, that I'm just throwing away, trying to not face the troubles. Instead, you're probably familiar with Lockie, Fonzie's, like in our True Blue server himself, dude. He said something about leaning in to the troubles and leaning in to the objections, and that helped a lot. Now that I look back on it, that's exactly what I did. I just leaned into it, and I was like, you know what? These obstacles are always going to be there. If I don't go through this, I'm not going to get to the next stage. You just got to block it out, and you got to have like blinders on, and you just got to lean into all the troubles that come in and just take it as a positive. That's all you can do, right? And you have to go through it. You have to go through it for 3 6 months. There's no way around it. I believe anyway.
This remind me of such a amazing Brody Foster quote on those like 2 minute video that he used to make. He used to
Mm,
say, "Sometimes you have to get worse for people that you care about for it to get better,
yeah,
and you have to learn how to manage
100,
people's expectation."
100%. Yes.
Yeah, that is crazy, isn't it? That is crazy. It's funny how once you actually live life, been to the up and down of life, the real shit, then all these like wisdom that you hear when you were young, or even now, it start to actually okay. I like before you know it, but you never understand it and internalize it. But once you went to all that, you actually truly feel it. You know what I mean? It hit different.
Yeah, it hit different, right? It hits different, especially when you actually make it, or not make it, but you get to just even 5 10 grand a month, man, is changes a lot of people's lives. Just getting to 5 10 grand a month, you it becomes a lot more happier. Like you enjoy it way more because you went through those hardships. That's it.
That's way in it. But then, so let's just say we were talking to Kashi at 18 year old. What are the things that you would tell Kashi at a year ago?
Mm,
Could be anything.
question.
Any regret? Any?
I think I could have got here. I think I could have got here faster if I didn't let external factors affect me. So I would have told him just keep pushing, focus on one thing, just go. That's what I would have told him, to be honest. Just focus on one thing. Don't worry about anyone else is saying. Just go all in, and you'll get there faster. Could have got to 10 grand a month faster, I believe. Maybe even twice as fast if I didn't waste my energy focusing on all these negative things, trying to process them, just ignore them completely and go all in to something like this. I mean, it's laughable looking back because you're like, oh, what are you doing, dude? You could have just got here so much faster, right? You wasted so much time. That's life, dude. That's what I was told, Kashi in the past.
But there's a saying, sometimes you have to go off road to
Mm,
learn different stuff. Then eventually you will get to the destination, right? If you wander
yeah,
enough in the forest, naturally you get out of the forest. But
yeah,
then
dude.
you just say about focus, right? Because I want to end this on a really actionable advice for the people.
Mm.
Tell me, how are you able to create your North Star so you can actually have a focus in your life and make that into a framework that people can actually use and apply.
Yeah, that's a good question. So this took me a while. This took me a while, right? And it really, I need some context on how I actually came about finding my North Star in the first place. So my mentor told me, I was like, I want to get 20 grand a month. I want to get to 30 grand a month. I want to get to 40 grand a month. And he asked me, yeah, but Kashi, why though? Like, why not just stay at 10 grand a month? Like, genuinely, why? And I was like, shit, why? I don't know why I want to get 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month. Because the lifestyle that I wanted, I could already live at 10 grand a month. So I'm still facing this now, right? How do I get to 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month? And he asked me why, and it really stumped me. And that really made me worry because I was like, why am I even doing all this? And then you have to ask yourself the questions, go deeper. Okay, is it family? Okay, cool. Is it actually the money? Like, what type of lifestyle do you really want to live? You have to really visualize it, right? The best way to do this is with something that I call the morning formula, right? I can link a video down below. Fatty, you maybe link in the description. It was a pretty good video
Mm-hmm.
that walks through exactly how to do the morning formula. So you write out maybe 2, 3, 4 years down the line exactly what your life will look like. So you wake up, you see this, you see this. These are the emotions that you're feeling 2, 3 years down the line. And you really, to a detail, know exactly what you're going to look like 2, 3 years from now. And then you have a strong why into why you did all that, right? And once you write that down and you put it up on your wall and you put up a bunch of pictures on your wall of things that you will see in the future, it'll bring you a North Star naturally. It takes time, dude. It's not a get rich, it's not like a quick thing that you're going to do. It takes time. Give it a couple months, but really visualize where you're going to be 2, 3 years from now and write it down on paper as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. So just to recap, three things that you want to achieve for yourself: 20K a month in the next 3 months. What could be the other two things? Because you say you're going to travel.
Yeah, good question. So I already went for a little bit of a travel, nothing too crazy. Just for the last 3 months around Asia. Probably gonna go to Europe is something that I wanted to go through.
Europe.
Yeah, travel like more areas outside of Asia. It's probably like Europe, maybe even the States, potentially South America, potentially. That's the second thing I wanted to do. The third thing that I wanted to do is definitely just to keep improving my mindset, man, and like just get the best at sales I can possibly be. That's probably number three, to be honest. I just want to get really good at sales and really good at closing
But
until there's like barely any improvement for room.
really
Like,
good.
become up with the top.
Really good. There's no quantified number.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, there's no number for pretty good at closing or sales.
so what would be your percentage? That's the easiest way.
If I had to put a percentage on like my close rate, it would be like 50 to 60% close rate on any offer I'm on. So any offer, maybe even higher than that. But I think the biggest comparison would be like if I had to post my worst recordings, like my worst call recordings, I'd be proud to post it because that's how good it was. I think that will be like my level of achievement where I can post my worst calls and I'd be proud to post them because I know that I've done the best I could.
That's a way. That's a way. So, guys, where can the people find your social?
Yeah, so I have my YouTube, which I'll link as well. Just on Instagram, DM me. Like I respond to pretty much everyone. Just DM me on Instagram. It's just Kashi underscore ne. And yeah, I'll respond and give you some tips and everything because a lot of people remind me a lot of myself when I was younger, and it's just limiting beliefs and mindset that when you overcome, you can get there twice as fast as I did.
Beautiful. Anything last word for the people?
Um, just do the hard work, man. Stay dedicated and just really visualize where you're going to be in the next 2, 3 years and get to work. That's really it. There's no point just mentally thinking about it forever and hoping for it to magically happen. You just got to get up and do it.
Beautiful. Well, guys, that is it, and we will see Kashi in 3 months' time. Let's see if he achieved what he set out. Right. See you
Oh yeah,
guys.
dude.